This is a public service announcement. The following presentation contains controversial information and ideas that could change the way you view the world. What you see and hear may soon compel you to take action. Viewer discretion is advised.
Whether the drug is criminalized or decriminalized does not affect the rates of smoking of cannabis, either uptake or of discontinuation.
It's been science. I'm being told it's been scientifically proven that marijuana kills your brain cells.
That's the one I remember. Marijuana kills brain cells. 1974, the Heath-Tulin study. Ronald Reagan announces, the most reliable scientific sources say permanent brain damage is one of the inevitable results of the use of marijuana. Monkeys pumped full of marijuana, apparently 30 joints a day, had begun to atrophy and die after 90 days. Brain damage was determined after counting the dead brain cells of both monkeys who had been subjected to the marijuana and ones who had not. This study became the foundation of the government and other special interest groups' claim that marijuana kills brain cells. Here's what they didn't tell you. After 6 years of requests, how the study was conducted was finally revealed. Instead of administering 30 joints a day for 1 year, Dr. Heath used a method of pumping 63 Colombian-strength joints through a gas mask within 5 minutes over 3 months.
They suffocated the monkeys. What they did is they put these gas masks basically on their face and they pumped pot into it, but without additional oxygen. So after X amount of time, the brain shut down. Well, if you suffocate, the first thing that's going to happen is your brain cells are going to die with lack of oxygen. So what they did is they suffocated the monkey, showed all these dead brain cells, and then went on to associate it by saying that cannabis use causes your brain cells to die. And how many people, not knowing the origin of the study, have gone on to quote it and re-quote it. And now people believe it.
Studies since have shown no signs of any brain cell damage. In 2005, new research suggested that marijuana could possibly stimulate brain cell growth. That study hasn't received the same attention.
PTSD, MS, glaucoma, seizures, all of these diseases have seen beneficial impacts with medical marijuana. It's outrageous that the federal government is saying there's no medical use. And until they move from Schedule 1, they are literally saying that.
Help the average person understand the difference between a Schedule 1 drug and a Schedule 2 drug.
Well, it's really simple. Schedule 1 drug has no medical use, and a Schedule 2 drug has medical uses.
Marijuana does not meet the definition of Schedule 2, and you can create those products, and we should do that.
Clearly, Schedule 2 is easier to access.
It's a small difference.
Well, then why are you resisting that difference then?
To deny people medicine that can help them based upon some idea that this might create a problem or a slippery slope, that undermines the common sense of things we already are doing.
It's stuck in the 60s. People wanted to demonize this as a hippie drug that had no value and not actually study it.
Have you written to the president or asked?
Yes, they'll say, there's not a body of research that shows the medical effects in U.S. literature.
Legalizing marijuana, whether it's medical marijuana or recreational use. Right now, that is not federal policy.
Well, surprise, surprise, it's a Schedule 1 drug. Of course there's not a body of research because you've precluded that research from being done. It's a catch-22.
It was in 2004, I voted in favor of medical marijuana. But I thought it was going to go through normal medicinal procedure. I'd see a real doctor, a real pharmacist would give me the marijuana, and I'd take care of whatever my issues were with my family. But that's not the case, and that's not how it's done.
Hypocrite. 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 Hypocrite.
I-176 states it would repeal the Montana Marijuana Act. The initiative would eliminate the current differences found between federal law and state law with respect to the legal status of the possession and use of marijuana.
So we believe the delivery process right now in the state of Montana is terrible. There's no testing, there's no measuring, there's no prescription, there's no prescribing, there's no monitoring, and then there's no registering. We just want normal pain medication protocol. And that's not being done in this state.
The United States is in the midst of the worst drug addiction epidemic in its history. But it's not a crisis of illegal drugs. It's one of prescription painkillers, oxycodone, hydrocodone, and other legal narcotics, all related to opium. Collectively, they're called opioids.
Well, these are the opioid painkillers, and prescriptions for drugs like these have more than quadrupled over the last 15 years, to the extent that the US now consumes more than 80% of the global supply of these drugs.
Overdoses from prescription opioid drugs now kill nearly 17,000 Americans every year. That's one overdose death.
Rate, which might have been 1 or 2 a month in our emergency department, is now more like 3 or 4 or 5, if not more than that, in a 24-hour period.
I mean, that's a massive increase.
Massive increase.
Over the past 10 years, we've had more than 125,000 Americans lose their lives to painkiller overdose deaths.